Jimmy G. What's up, Jimmy?
How's it going, Trey? I'm excited, baby. I'm excited. We're back. Football's back. Uh, Best time of the year. Favorite time of the year. Can't be beat.
Favorite time of the year. It doesn't get any better than this. Football's back. We're right around the corner, coming to you with a preseason episode, our annual preseason episode, to get the football season started. There's some week zero games this week. Couple good ones I'm looking forward to. Just kind of, it's like an appetizer for the season before we really dive in next week. So, football season is here. We're ready to rock and roll, and I'm super pumped.
Me too, man. I think you got a little more to look forward to than I do. New head hog there on campus, but every year we, just like all the other experts, put together a list what we think is going to happen, and then I love to see how, not to say how wrong we are, but all the didn't see that coming. Did not have that guy on my bingo card. You know what I mean? So I get, like I said, favorite time of the year. Can't wait.
Can't wait. Indeed, there's been a few changes to college football. We'll start with the newest one. NFL players trying to come back and play in college football. LSU trying to bend the rules a little bit. However, so like basically what happened was a tight end at Ole Miss last year signed a pro contract with the Cleveland Browns. So on the practice squad, played in two preseason games. He asked for his release, and he wasn't going to make the team anyway because he had an agreement with Lane Kiffin LSU to go play at LSU. But this guy has already been in training camp all summer with the Cleveland Browns, suited up for two preseason games, and was going to come back and play college football. Now, as of yesterday, SEC and other conferences, including the Big Ten, has now came out and said, nope, we are not going to allow that. We're going to go with the NCAA on this. NCAA said they're going to fight it. Wild, wild times we're living in college football.
Yeah, and then a few people I've talked to, the first thing they go is, well, I mean, they hired an agent. He had to hire an agent. And I go, yeah, but everyone's got an agent now, dude.
Yep.
NIL. That used to be the cutoff. You remember? Oh, did where's so and so after the bowl game? Crap, did he hire an agent? It's over now. They all have agents. But I can tell you this: we think it's wild with NIL and the transfer portal paired up together. If I'm the NCAA, I'm going all in on fighting this because if they don't win this battle, it, I
Oh,
mean, college football already looks different than it did 5, 10 years ago. Obviously, this will change. This will be stupid. This will be stupid. That's the only word I can come up with. Because, like you said, you'll have guys go to the draft, play all preseason, get cut, then go, well, I'm just going to go back and play college then, make money.
yep.
I don't blame Lane Kiffin. I mean, he said it in the press conference. It's either them or us. And I agree with that. There's no, what's the word I'm looking for? Not honor, but basically there's no uh, morality, I guess, maybe the word. There's no morals. There's no ethics anymore in
There's
college
not a lot of
football.
ethics in college football right now, in college athletics in general.
No, because it's like Lane Kiffin said, guys, it's either them or us. I'd rather it be us. I don't blame it. Not at all. I'm going, hey
And
man,
Kiffin was on the Pat McAfee show, and his argument was, look, the NCAA said you get 5 years to play five now, so they've changed that rule. And Kiffin said, look, this guy, if that rule would have been in place before the draft, he would have never went to the draft. He would
yep.
have just stayed and then probably transferred and came to LSU. So he does have a point because this class, NCAA said, well, it wasn't going to apply to seniors last year, but starting now, 5 and 5. Well, a bunch of the seniors who aren't going to play in the NFL said that's not fair. You're kind of screwing us out of money and another year of eligibility when you've
Mhm.
changed the rules. They went to a judge like everybody does now, and the judge ruled in their favor and said, no, that's not right. You're cutting off potential income from these guys. And so a lot of teams have signed players for that fifth year, extra year that wouldn't have had it otherwise. Only problem is none of them signed NFL contracts like this guy did. And that, I think, is the problem. If you're on the sidelines for an NFL preseason game in an NFL uniform, sorry, your time in college football is done.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can't, I mean, at that point, why doesn't, Jaden Daniels just come back? What's stopping other
Was
than
something Vince Young. Vince Young left early. Horns could
right.
use Vince Young.
Yeah, what's stopping those guys from coming back? You know what I mean? Like, I agree. If you have signed with an NFL team, I don't care if it's preseason contract, practice squad, or something, you're officially a professional. Like, that's it. You shouldn't be able to come back. The NCAA
Yep.
had better win this one. If they
They
think it's
better. You're
bad,
right.
they had better win this one. They need to
This is a
go
slam dunk for them. And they've been
all
taking
in,
losses
whatever
all
favor.
year. Yeah,
Yeah,
they got to win
they
this one.
can't take this one.
All right, college football playoff. We have some new changes again this year to the seeding. So here we'll go over the changes real quick before we get into our conference predictions and give you our best bets on season win totals and futures. Guaranteed conference bid. So this is different this year. In the past, it was just the top five seeds, and that's how the ACC automatic bid got lost last year because Duke won it, and Duke was only 7-6 or whatever they were. So the ACC champion does not get represented in the playoff. Miami got in as an at-large. That has changed. Now the Power Four teams are now guaranteed. Their champions are guaranteed. ACC, Big Ten, Big 12, SEC champs are guaranteed to win to be in the playoff. And then the highest ranked FBS conference champion receives another automatic bid. So the group, what people are calling the group of six, whoever the highest ranked team out of the group of six gets a bid, and the Big Four champions get a bid. There's also an exception for Notre Dame. The new Notre Dame rule, Notre Dame automatically gets to be in the playoff if they're ranked in the top 12. So they have an automatic entrance into the college football playoff moving forward. This one is key because it's a strategy. Bowl selection. The top four seeded teams, which this changed last year, so you're not guaranteed a top four if you win conference. It's just the top four best teams, according to the committee, will now get to choose their preferred bowl game. No historic conference tie-ins no longer control any assignment process. So the way I understand it is a playoff committee will come out with number one, and they get to pick where their bowl game will be, their first playoff game will be. And then number two gets to pick three, and then four gets what's left over. So that adds some strategy to where you want to play. Part of the New Year's Six bowl selection. And of course, expansion, it's still 12. There's talks they're trying to expand it. I don't know if that's going to happen next year or not. I think 12 is a pretty good number. I wouldn't be opposed to 16, but anything over 16, I'm against. So those are the new rules for the college football playoff this year. I know you
I'm
love
a,
that Notre Dame exception, don't you?
that's what I literally was about to say. I don't have a problem with that. If it's 12 teams and you're ranked inside the top 12, like, okay, I think there's a good argument for you making the playoff. I also, oh, you're just now, congratulations, committee. Now we're going to say that the conference champions are automatic bids. After 2 years in the same conference, you guys have got egg on your face. You should have put Florida State in when they won. Who cares if they were going to get killed? Nobody could argue with you because you'd had the, hey, these are the rules. We're just following the rules. You should have put Duke in for winning the conference championship. We're going to emphasize conference championships. Well, you didn't. Now you say you're going to finally. This would have been the easiest thing to do right out of the gate. But I like that because you know what? Win your conference. If somehow you get upset in the conference championship by a 7-6 team from the other side of the division, you don't go to the playoffs. I'm sorry. Like, or at least you don't get the automatic bid. I think that team should get the automatic bid, keeps a little parity in there. I don't have a problem with that. And if they're not going to force Notre Dame to join a conference, okay, you're going to have to be in the top 12 to get the bid in. I'm okay with that. I think. What about you?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. It kind of I'm fine with it ultimately because if Notre Dame they don't play in a conference, but at the same time we're catering to a team who doesn't play by the rules that everybody else plays by. I
Mhm.
understand why Notre Dame's independent. I mean, they could just force them to join a conference. And the more and more time goes on, and the more and more how this gets set up, I've always been pro in Notre Dame keeping their independence. I don't know. I don't know how I like because now what happens if one of these big teams decide, well, Notre Dame's getting preferential treatment. They don't have to play the
Mhm.
schedule we have to play. Let's maybe if we go independent, we'll play two tough games, and if we're in the top 12, we're automatically in. So I think that could lead down a slippery slope, especially like, let's say Alabama misses the playoffs for a couple. Now they'll probably never leave the SEC, but like someone like that would have said, no, we're just going to go independent now.
Yeah, USC. What if USC decides to go independent? I
USC,
can see them,
exactly.
a team like USC, Clemson goes, man, we just can't win the ACC. Let's just go make our own schedule and let's play one tough game a year. And you know what? We'll roll into this thing 11-1 and make them, have to keep us out. Yeah, I agree. I don't think I have never really had a problem with it. I thought it was dumb. I'm like, just join a conference already because the NBC deal, now everyone's nationally televised, so that's not a big deal anymore. Like, it's just one of those. I think the game is the televised games and just college football in general has evolved to where being independent anymore, you're not at an advantage anymore. So join a conference already. BYU did. BYU dug their heels in and then finally went, yeah, okay, we're going to join the Big 12. So,
Yep.
yeah.
All right, so those are the changes. We got conference championship predictions. We'll pick the big four and then a national champion before we give out our best bets for regular season win totals. We'll start with the conference of all conferences, the SEC. Just means more. Jimmy, who do you like to win the SEC this year?
It'll come down, in my opinion, between Texas and Georgia. The Longhorns get their defense to reach its potential. Think they've got a good shot to win it all. They've got the quarterback. Uh, they got the receivers are a year older. Offensive line, if they can block for Arch, keep him upright. I think we already know what Arch can do. We know Arch is really good, arguably the best quarterback in the SEC, unless you ask Ole Miss. On defense, they still bring back Colin Simmons, but they have got to get to the quarterback more. And of course, the secondary losing Taff and Malik McDonald, they're going to fill those holes. But Texas, the Ohio State game for both teams, Texas and Ohio State, is going to be a big, big measuring stick and a kind of a launching point, I think, for each team the rest of the way. Texas at home, it's in Austin, so that's going to be one of if they beat Ohio State, I don't care if it's at home on the road neutral site. Texas, I think, will become a legitimate favorite to win the national title. Georgia, I have them down as right there with Texas in my place a bet on them and no one's laughing at you kind of category. They run the ball well. Their defense should be elite. They've got NFL talent in the secondary. Like Texas, they kind of have a problem of getting to the quarterback. We'll see how that goes this year. And those are my two teams. And man, I'm gonna go with Texas on this. Don't let me down, Trey. I think Texas. I think Texas gets it done. I like Sark. See what he can do, and Arch. I think Arch is that good.
I hope so. I hope you're right as a Texas fan. Texas plus 325 to win the SEC. I love Texas. I'm expecting big things, but they got a really tough schedule, and I can see them maybe even missing out. I think the Ohio State game is a huge game, but then, I mean, I can see them losing two SEC games this year for sure. It's a tough schedule. I think it's Georgia and Texas preseason make a pick, but man, Georgia's won this thing. They've won it 2 years in a row, and they've been in it, I think, five of the last six, something like that. I think Georgia's king until you knock them off. And for that reason, I'm sticking with the Georgia Bulldogs. They are the favorites to win the SEC at plus 250, but I'm going to go until somebody knocks them off. I'm going with the Georgia Bulldogs to win the SEC at plus 250. Big Ten. Everybody's kind of considering three big teams in the Big Ten: Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. I really like the Oregon Ducks this year, Jimmy. I think they might be the most complete team in the country. I think Dante Moore, he had a really good season last year. He could have went first overall in the draft. He came back. They bulked up the defensive line. He's got one of the best tight ends in the country. If his receivers can stay healthy, he's got like Evan Stewart was hurt last year. He'll have some weapons. They got a loaded running back room. good offensive line. I really love this Oregon Ducks team. So I'm going Oregon at plus 275 to win the Big Ten.
I'm taking kind of your thoughts in the SEC, and I'm going with Ohio State. I think they'll battle Oregon for the Big Ten title, but it's Ohio State's to lose till Oregon can prove that they can win the big game like this. Aside from the trip to Austin, I think Ohio State will probably be favored in almost all of their games. Uh, Julian saying sophomore, still throwing to Jeremiah Smith. Um, Texas, Oregon, Indiana probably be their toughest games, but Indiana, I'm not too high on. I mean, history, you know, history. It's gonna be tough to repeat what that magical season they had. So that's why I think it's a two-horse race. Ohio State, Oregon. Oregon's got to prove they can use Phil Knight's money the right way. I call them A&M of the Pacific Northwest because they have all this money. They buy all these things that look great and shiny. They can't figure out how to put them together. The flip side, Dante Moore went from number one overall pick to, yeah, you should probably come back, my guy. Like, you hang out for one more year. I think if he can keep it together for a full season, they'll push for the Big Ten and national title. But like you said with Georgia, it's Ohio State till someone knocks them off. So I'm going with Ohio State.
Ohio State at plus 175. They are the favorite to win the Big Ten. Who do you like in the ACC?
Oh, man, I'm going to go a dark horse, literally dark horse. I'm going to go SMU. Miami's the favorite.
Yep.
SMU brings back Kevin Jennings, should be a Heisman Trophy candidate. The receivers, if they can get the receivers to mature early, uh, Jennings can do it with his arms and his legs. Uh, Miami, if I'm Miami, and sorry to bring this up, Trey, but if I'm Miami, I'm watching that Sam Ellinger "We're Back" clip and going, guys, we need to curb this a little bit because we've got 1 year and they're replacing so much on the defense.
Yep.
They do bring in Mensa from Duke, but
Yep.
now all that pressure, those alumni, that fan base, they're expecting to be back. And I don't know if Mensa is going to be able to handle, or Cristobal is going to be able to handle that pressure like that. So I just I just think as good as Mensa was at Duke, Miami, this is going to be a whole new animal. And I'm going to go SMU, long shot, SMU.
SMU plus 700 to win the ACC, the second favorite, but Miami is the massive, massive favorite at minus 160. I agree with you. SMU going to be good. They beat Miami last year, and I think if they one less loss, they would had a chance to make the playoff, and they would have had the head-to-head over Miami. But they had some games with turnover problems. They turned the ball over 6 times against Duke last year and somehow still won that football game.
Yeah, how
I
about
love the ACC this year. I think it's going to be really competitive. Miami, SMU, I really love Louisville this year. And I think Clemson, no one's talking about Clemson. Wouldn't this be the year that Dabo actually comes out of nowhere and surprises people because everybody thinks they're going to stink? I mean, we'll find out week one. They play LSU. So I think the ACC is going to be a pretty competitive conference this year. But when I look at this, and you're going to pick one to win one game in the conference championship, that Miami roster is just so loaded. I'm going to pick Miami to win the conference championship. I can see them losing a game or two in conference and making barely sneaking in. But if you're talking about one game, they're just such a better roster than everybody else. I'm going to take Miami at minus 160. On to the Big 12. Ironically, I'm going to go the exact opposite thinking here. There's a team that has such a better roster than everybody else in the Texas Tech Red Raiders, and they are huge favorites in the Big 12 at minus 120. But
Whew.
BYU is sitting there at plus 600, and they are going to be sneaky, sneaky good. Now, I don't know how sneaky because they were sneaky good last year. But again, nobody talks enough about BYU in this conference. It's been all Texas Tech. Texas Tech is elite, and they're loaded. I worry about the quarterback position with Will Hammond coming off an injury, but they just signed Thomas uh, Leonis out of Florida State. He was at Boston College, went to Florida State, gets a fifth year. He's going to Texas Tech. He's going to be pretty electric. I just think with that amount of money and with BYU's schedule, BYU, I think, is going to make the title game. They play Texas Tech. You can also hedge your bets. I wouldn't love it straight up, but at a long shot at plus 600, I love putting money down on BYU to win the Big 12.
I have it as a three-horse race: Tech, BYU, and Utah.
Yep.
If I had to put money, it would either be BYU or Utah, and I'm leaning BYU. Uh, Tech coming off that magical year and still returns arguably I mean, one of the best defenses in college football. That mess at quarterback and that mess around the Sorsby
Yes.
gambling thing, Cody Campbell trying to flex all his money. I think that is going to every team already is going to come in and try to just stomp you. And when you don't have a proven quarterback, I mean, when your quarterback room's this big of a distraction, that's gonna show its face at some point. And so I think whoever wins out of BYU Utah Holy War is going to win the Big 12, and probably BYU.
All right. So Jimmy also going with BYU plus 600. That's a huge return on some money if BYU comes through for us. Let's go to the national championship. So we got our four conference champions. Now let's just go ahead and pick the national champion. Who do you think is going to win? If you had to put money down right now, I mean, I can go first. I told you I'm a big fan of Oregon. I think Oregon wins the national championship this year. I think they're going to be, I say it's going to be Oregon over Notre Dame. Oregon is plus 800 to win the national championship right now. $100 to win 800 if they win it all. I think they're the most talented team in the country. Just diving into these rosters, they play a hard enough schedule to get battle tested, but not hard enough where they should be that beat up. I mean, they do have a couple tough games. I just think they're loaded. I think Dan Lanning gets it done, wins the national championship. So I'm going Oregon as my national champion.
Oh, I I'm down between Georgia, Ohio State. Well, really Georgia, Texas, kind of whoever wins the SC and Ohio State. I'm going to
Ohio
go.
State's the favorite at plus 600.
That's kind of the one that I like is Ohio State. Like you said, I think their schedule is going to be tough enough where they're going to be tested, and I think they're just that good. Um,
They're really good.
Oregon, yeah, I just think Ohio State's just that good. Saying we saw what he could do as a freshman. He's a sophomore now. Again, still got Jeremiah Smith. We talked about it earlier. I think if they come out of their schedule with one loss or less, I think that there's no way that they lose. So I'm gonna go with Ohio State.
All right. Jimmy going with the favorite. Ohio State at plus 600. Okay. Let's get to our regular season bets. Favorite time of the year. Placing some regular season
Mhm.
win total bets. I got six regular season win total bets. Three overs, three unders.
I've got five, four
Yeah.
unders. No, excuse me, three unders, two overs.
Okay. All right. Well, I got one more. So I'll start. I'm going to start with the Tennessee Volunteers Rocky Top.
Ooh,
I don't think they're getting enough credit. Right now, their over under season win total is 7.5. I think they win eight games this year. They are going to, as of right now, in the 12 regular season games, they're favored in 10 of those. So they just win the games they're favored in. Uh, we hit the over. Now, two of them are really close. You got at South Carolina, LSU at home. Those are close to pick'ems. So there are eight games you're comfortably favored in. Just win those eight, and you gash the window. You got hosting Texas. You're going to be an underdog there, but that's an upset opportunity. Alabama's also a close one. You're going to be a dog at Texas A&M. But then you got some games. Auburn at home. You got to win that one. At Arkansas. You got to win that one. Home against Kentucky. At Vanderbilt. Eight starters come back on offense that averaged 40 points a game last year. Now they are going to be starting a quarterback. It looks like it's going to be the freshman Faison Brandon. New defensive coordinator Jim Knowles comes over. He was at Ohio State 2 years ago when they won it all. Penn State last year. Now he's at Tennessee. I think Tennessee is going to be a pretty sneaky good team. Over 7.5 wins for Tennessee is my first bet of the season.
I just added one live to catch up with you.
Okay.
My first bet, this is the one I added. I added the last one. Indiana under 10.5. This is minus 155. You can't, I mean, it's one magical season, historically the worst team in college football. Kurt Signetti, love Kurt Signetti. I think you and I both love that guy. That's probably the closest thing to Saban we've got in college football
Yeah.
anymore. You take guys that are hungry, wanting to win, and that's what you get with last year's Indiana team. And we talked about this. Now you're recruiting, how many 4 and 5 stars did they have last year versus, how many are they getting now? You're starting to recruit these guys, those high caliber guys. High caliber guys come with high caliber egos. It's not the same, not as hungry. They kind of want to protect the investment. Give me under 10.5 on Indiana's total this year.
All right. Next one, Oklahoma, over 7.5 wins. I really like the Sooners. I think they improved themselves in the portal. Their defense is always going to be good. It's been good under Brent Venables. It'll be good again this year. But I think they improved the running game. They're going to be a favorite in 10 of their 12 games. The two underdog games they're going to have are back to back at Georgia and then Texas in the Cotton Bowl. They're going to be favored in the rest of the game. They're favored at Michigan right now. Big money came in. Michigan was a small favorite. Now Oklahoma's a small favorite. But even that game, that's 3 games, 9. That gives you an extra one to play with at 7.5. Now you do got to pay a good chunk of the vig here. -170 right now. Oklahoma over 7.5. I just like the Sooner team. I think they're coming off a 10-2 season. They made the playoffs. I think they definitely get to 8 wins. They got Mateer back at quarterback. Give me Oklahoma over 7.5.
I like it. My next one is another under 10.5, and that's Miami. Again, I think the expectations are just going to be too much for this Miami Hurricanes team. Again, losing Bain and Mesidor there on the end. They've still got the tackles back, but when those Mesidor and Bain could take a game over, you need a big time sack. They were going to get one. I don't know where they're going to get that. Uh, I go under. I think the expectations are too high right now in Coral Gables. So give me under 10.5 Miami Hurricanes.
Love that bet. Love it so much. I also got Miami under 10.5. All the same reasons. I mean, we got. I'm gonna have them losing at Notre Dame, and at the same time, Mario Cristobal, ever since he's been a head coach, he's lost at least one game every season where he was a double-digit favorite. That's going back to 2011. Was the last year he didn't lose a game as a double-digit favorite, and that was when he was head coach at Florida International. Every year he's been a head coach since 2011. He has lost as a double-digit favorite at least once. I think he does that again this year in the ACC. I think he loses at Notre Dame. Then you just need that one more loss and you're under. So I also like Miami under 10.5. What's
All
your next
right.
one?
SMU over 8.5. This is -155. I'm gambling a little bit here on the ponies. I think Jennings will be a Heisman contender. And if they get past Louisville, I believe that's September 19th,
Yep.
they shouldn't be tested again until late in the season against Notre Dame. So I think the ponies, like I said, over 8.5 is they could have this locked up before that Notre Dame game. That'll be just easy money.
All right. This is an ACC heavy show because my next one's another ACC team. I like Louisville over 8.5. Jeff Brom, head coach, he's got 8 one-score losses in the last 3 seasons. I think they've been a little bit better than what their record has indicated, but still, they have always found a way to win at least 8 games. The over-under is 8.5. We need one of those one-loss scores to go our way this year to get to 9. I think they're an underrated football team. They signed a top 15 transfer portal class. They have some studs all over the field. We got Lincoln Kineholtz is the quarterback who transferred over from Ohio State. He was Ohio State's backup last year. I think he goes to Louisville and I think he lights it up. Big fan of the Louisville Cardinals. I got Louisville over 8.5 wins.
Okay. We'll see. That SMU game early in the season is going to be big.
That'll be a big one.
That's big for both of them. I like it. Uh, my next one, talked about it. A lot of these we talked about. Texas Tech under 10.5. It's too much of a mess at quarterback. Trey, we talked about it before. You need two people have to be really good on on a football field. That's your center and your quarterback. Only two players touch the ball every single play. Center, quarterback. How many times you don't really sometimes you may not even know the center's name, just like the long snapper, until what? They mess it up, right? Got to have a good center, got to have a good quarterback. Tech's quarterback room is a mess. such a giant distraction. That's going to rear its head. Your defense can only do so much, especially when the offense potentially puts them in short field opportunities. So give me Tech under 10 and a half. That's plus 145.
Ooh, yeah, getting it at plus money. Okay, I got two unders left. I'm gonna go the Penn State Nittany Lions under 9.5. This is a trendy pick, so it's a minus 140. A lot of people are taking the over. It's 9.5. I mean, Matt Campbell, I'm a big fan. But at the same time, he has taken almost his entire roster from Iowa State to Penn State. Well, how good was Iowa State? They were 8-4 in the Big 12 schedule. You're going to have at least 11 starters for Penn State this year started at Iowa State last year. This is an Iowa State Big 12 team that went 8-4 last year, and you're expecting them to win 10 games in the Big 10, arguably the best conference in college football. I don't see that happening. Give me Penn State under 9.5.
I like that one. I'll give you the one that I added live. That was Notre Dame under 11 and a half. It's minus 225. They just need to lose one game. BYU, Miami, SMU. Pick one. They'll lose one of those three, probably BYU. I could also see them getting upset by maybe a Michigan State or maybe by one of the other two. But Notre Dame under 11 and a half. Again, it's minus 225, which means Vegas likes it too. So it's only crazy. It's not gambling when you know it's going to win.
There you go. Good point. All right, my last one. Kansas Jayhawks. We are back in the era of the Kansas Jayhawks football team being terrible.
Yeah.
Back-to-back losing seasons with Jalen Daniels at quarterback. He moves on. They're either going to start a walk-on at quarterback or Rice is starting quarterback from a year ago. This team is past its prime. It had two good seasons of being really good a couple years ago. Back-to-back losing seasons. Quarterback play is only going to get worse. They are not favored in any game this season as of right now. They are going to be underdogs in all 12 games. The over-under is 5.5. Give me the Kansas Jayhawks under 5.5.
Yeah, dude. They're one of those teams that doesn't feel like they should ever be good at football. You know what I mean? Like
No, and they're back to being terrible.
Keeb Talib. It's like, man, Kansas for real, Orange Bowl, and it's like, no, it kind of feels like all's right in the world when they're kind of bad at football. My last one is I'm going with my Hogs over 4.5 at plus 145. Ryan Silverfield coming in from Memphis, new quarterback, a lot of stuff. So I get why it's 4.5. I almost went Oklahoma State under 5.5. UNT North, they bring their guy Eric Morris uh, and the quarterback to Oklahoma State, and you might look at that, sprinkle a little bit on that too, because if they lose to Tulsa early in the year, I think that one cashes. But back to Arkansas, I think they have 6 or 7 winnable games. North Alabama, Tulsa, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Auburn, South Carolina, and then you can't ever count out Tennessee, A&M, LSU. Of those three, I think it probably goes Tennessee, LSU, A&M in likelihood to win. Uh, we beat them. They were number 4. Tennessee beat them number 4 in the nation. LSU's a rivalry game. We've beaten them and had no business being on the field with them some years. So I think over 4.5 for the Hogs, and you're getting plus money. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think they can win. I think they can win 5 games. I don't think they can make a bowl game this year, but I think they can win 5 games.
That'd be
Like
huge
I said,
if Silverfield in his first season can make a bowl.
North Alabama, Tulsa, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Auburn, South Carolina. I think they can win 5 of those games. And I think and obviously that's all you need to hit it. So why don't you bet a little bit on the Hawks?
The over would cash if you could get those 5. Okay, you got any future bets, championship bets, or any future bets?
No, not
Yeah,
yet.
me
Not
neither.
yet. I hadn't
I'd
looked
put
at
one
it
on
in
Oregon.
depth
I like
enough.
Oregon to win the Natty. I said
Yeah.
that plus 800 is the only one I'd like for Oregon for my future bets. Conference championship bets, I'm probably staying away this year.
Yeah, that's the one that I think if I was going to put one, it might be the BYU for the Big 12.
Now, I
Uh,
might do the BYU because that's plus 600.
yeah.
I do like the BYU one. So, All right, football's back. That's our show. Gridiron Grind on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll be back next week with a full week one preview right here on the Gridiron Grind.